All right, well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the call Wednesday night. I think Wednesdays are ending up being my favorite day of the week because we're able to share this phenomenal revolutionary phototherapy patch with you all. I know that Rachel and I are both so excited that you are open to learning about this revolutionary phototherapy technology that we were introduced to about 19 months ago. Now, I think it's been 19 months. So you're going to hear some life-changing testimonials tonight. We're going to share a slide deck, a formal presentation with you, and we'll be also opening it up to Q&A for those new on the call and those who are live on the call. But a little bit about us and how we got started. So I am Beth Blackmore. I'm a health and empowerment coach, having gone through my own health journey close to 7 years ago now when I started to make really significant changes with my food choices, my lifestyle habits, resulting in a 60-pound weight loss. And really, little did I know that at that time, it was really the beginning of my conscious awakening. I ended up leaving my government career in HR, my government pension and all, really due to lack of medical freedom, and to pursue my passion in helping people take control of their health. So I consider myself a lifelong learner, being open to new information and embracing change. So almost 2 years ago, I started to learn about this whole realm of quantum biology, circadian rhythm, really harnessing the power of light, thanks to my dear friend Rachel here. So, waking up with the sun, eating shortly after waking, I feel that embracing the power of light is really this next phase of my health journey, of my evolution. And so, when my friend Diane Hunt reached out to me about a phototherapy light patch, I knew that I had to take a closer look. I invited Rachel on the call, and we were basically blown away by the information you're about to hear about this technology, the company, LifeWave, and these life-changing testimonials. So we signed up pretty much right away. We put our first orders in and we did what any good daughter would do. We patched our moms. So my mom, who had had knee pain for years, noticed significant relief within a few days. Her physiotherapist noticed, more mobility, less inflammation. She asked her what she was taking, what she was doing differently. And the only thing that had changed was this sticker that her daughter put on her. And not only did her knee pain improve, but she also started experiencing deeper sleep, more energy and stamina. She was able to return to her favorite activities like gardening and walking and swimming. And for me, the benefits have been life changing as well. The first thing I noticed was that I was finally able to sleep through the night, vivid dreams, which was really unheard of for me. I also used to experience this lower back tightness, this compression issue that I had dealt with for years on and off, going to a chiropractor every 3 weeks. And that I have no longer experienced that tightness, that compression issue. I think it was a week after I started patching. So no more trips to the chiropractor. I also feel that I have more energy, more mental clarity. I also feel this sense of calm. But what fires me up, folks, is that I know that the best is yet to come. My body is healing and repairing and age reversing, as you will soon discover. There's also an incredibly exciting financial opportunity with the trajectory of this company. So, more on that a little bit later. And before we dive into the incredible testimonials tonight, I would love for Rachel to introduce yourself and share your powerful story with everyone.
Thanks, Beth. Thanks, everyone, for showing up. And I was going to apologize, as Canadians do, right, for my funny red light, but I'm not because that's the way I roll. um, so, my name's Rachel Maurice, and I worked as an anesthesiologist in Canada for close to 20 years. I left in 2021 when I wanted to make my own decisions for my health and my family. And in that time, I didn't think I'd be gone for very long, but as it stands, I did not actually go back. And in all of the upheaval of the world, I started doing a lot more digging of information that was not making sense to me from what I had learned in the previous 30 years. And one of the things that I uncovered was something I did not anticipate, and that was a um, completely paradigm shifting knowledge about how the body works and health, not anything that I was taught in my medical school career, but the evidence and the research is all there. You just have to actually go digging for it and put the pieces together, which I've had mentors do. And as Beth talked about, that had to do with light and our light environment, and really every single physiologic function that takes place in the body, the primary signal comes from light. And so, in the learning that I did with this, I started shifting my lifestyle. There are a lot of things that can be done. that can actually really turn your health around and improve symptoms, not just put a band-aid on. But again, in this, it all has to do with light. I ended up coming across these incredible phototherapy patches and not realizing what they were for about a year until I started investigating when my mom's health started to decline. And her doctors were talking about heart surgery. And having spent 25 years in the operating room, I really did not want her to have surgery if it was at all avoidable. And it just so happened that the person Beth was talking about, Diane Hunt, her background was she was a cardiac surgical nurse for 20 years. So I knew that she knew and had the experience, the same type of experience and understanding I did in medicine. And she was not only telling me stories, but showing me evidence with echocardiograms and other investigations of people using these patches for 8, 10, 12 months, going from having severe heart failure to no longer being in heart failure and actually getting normal heart function back, which I've never seen in my career. And not that I was in the cardiac suite for that long, but every single person, or I would say maybe 75% of people come in with cardiac issues that I've had to deal with. And Diane spent 20 years specifically dealing with heart patients. And neither of us had seen anything like this in either of our careers. It just doesn't happen in medicine. So, understanding, which you're going to all hear about in the presentation, that there's literally no downside to using these patches. I told my mom it's worth a go. Let's give it time. We're so used to our society being programmed into having things happen quickly, overnight, pushing that easy button, which is joked about in so many commercials, that big red easy button. So telling my mom we're going to give it a year. Needless to say, I was completely shocked that within 2 weeks, she went from having to stop every 2 to 3 steps to catch her breath from her heart failure because the fluid backs up into the lungs, to walking with me for 20 to 30 minutes at a time on an incline while talking to me at the same time. That was completely baffling from my old understanding of how the body works, but actually made sense from this new paradigm called quantum biology. And so she had so many other things. Varicose veins started diminishing, spider veins diminished or actually disappearing, all of her skin issues, which she had secondary to some medications, completely clearing up, her energy and vibrancy to the point where a lot of her age group friends were asking what on earth she was doing because she just looked like she was glowing and radiant. Um, yeah, so many things. And so I can share more about what happened with me, but I want to be mindful of time and everyone sharing their evening with us. So I think we might be sharing some more testimonials right now before we get started with the presentation, but I know Beth has a flow to this, so I'll hand it back to
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much, Rachel. I would love to call on and Louise, if you can unmute and share your story tonight.
I certainly can. Hi, thank you for letting me share my story. The first thing I want to say is the stuff that's happening to me on the outside is so incredible, so I can't imagine what's happening on the inside. So the exterior things that I notice, I'm 54. When I was 15 years old, I had a really bad accident, cliff jumping, and ripped my shoulders out of their socket. And so I was at the time, because I was growing, given a lot of painkillers, and that kind of started a whole process of severe pain, but also massive insomnia. So if I wasn't taking a lot of prescribed drugs, I wasn't sleeping. And so big time, basically for 30 years, haven't slept. And when I first saw Rachel posting about some sleep issues and stuff, I didn't believe it just because I've tried literally everything. But I have to say that once starting, and I started actually because of my dog had massive anxiety, and I knew you could put them on they were non-transdermal, so I used them on him, and his anxiety went away, and I went, wow. So my process started, I wasn't a one-patch wonder. It took a little bit of time, but at around 3 months, all of a sudden I started sleeping 4 5 hour hunks, which was unheard of. I was absolutely blown away with just that. Uh, Last night I slept 8 hours and 40 minutes. So sleep has made such a huge difference. But because I wasn't sleeping and I being my own doctor, I got IBS, and it's probably because of all the drugs. And so I was diagnosed with everything, SIBO, IBS, IBD, leaky gut, malnourished, tried everything, all the different, supplements, any kind of protocol anybody would put me on, I would do ridiculous diets, eliminations. And now, because I've been using it for a year, and that was the big one I wanted, it has calmed down. And now I can go to the washroom. I'm not running to the bathroom. I can actually go on a drive and not have to worry where a toilet is at all times, which has been my life for decades. Then my gums, this is bizarre. I had gum recession so bad that I had cadaver skin sewn in there very uncomfortably for 8 weeks. I've had four at my age. At 40, I got my first implant. So I've had a lot of teeth issues. My dentist cannot believe that my gums are healing. He's like, this is unheard of. I keep on telling him it's the patch. He still doesn't believe me, but I'm like, I've done nothing different but using this patch, and now my gums are healing. My husband has stopped snoring. He also has impacted sinuses where they've had to do surgery to remove it. Now he's smelling. He can smell. He actually the other day said toast is burning. I'm like, yeah, it is. And he can smell it. He doesn't have a lot of hair. It's coming back. He has to get it cut every month now by my daughter. Nails, hair, both of us. So yeah, so many good things, and that's why I say that's what's happening on the outside. So I can't imagine what's happening on the inside. So it's taken a year for all of that stuff to happen, but I am completely blown away. I have my parents on it, my friends, my aunts, everybody around me is just jumping on board because they know my story. I've been always very, very open about everything I've been dealing with, and so I really can't say enough.
Love it. That's so amazing. Thanks so much for sharing tonight. I'm so happy for you. Amazing. Kim, I would love for if you could unmute and share your story tonight.
Hi, my name's Kim. I'm from outside of Kamloops. Rachel invited me. I will apologize for my light because it looks like I'm being beamed up by UFO. Sorry. I consider myself a healthy person, and I started taking the patch about a year ago. I started with the X39, and because I'm 50, I'm a funeral director and married, I'm tired, stressed, and crazy. So I thought I'm gonna look after my health a little bit better. So I went to the natural path thinking natural products. She's going to help me. Told her my story. And that visit was $150 to come back to run some more tests. So I went back. I purchased what they call a Dutch test, which was $650 on top of the $150 visit. And it concluded what I already knew. I was tired, stressed, and crazy. So she put me on medicine for cortisol, something to help me sleep, and two hormone therapies, one which was a pill and one was a cream. And then she started saying if I had all these side effects to let her know ASAP. So I kind of left there a little disappointed because naturopath, and I'm going to the doctor to fill out a prescription, which cost me another $100 per prescription. So it's been on for a year, and every time I'd go into her office, she's like, scale 1 to 10, how's your stress? Well, I'm a funeral director, married and 50, so it's still 8. Well, how's your sleep? Well, again, all of the above. 10. I'm not sleeping, and the pills that you're giving me aren't working. Well, let's up them. Let's change them. Enter my patch. It's not why I took the patch. I had a wish list. So I went back to her the one day and she's like, how's your sleep? And I went, actually really good. She's like, what? And I said, I would give it like an 8 out of 10. And she's like, okay, and what about your stress? I'm like, well, still funeral director and married, but it's just rolling off my back now. It's not, I can handle it. She's like, what? Are you taking the pills that I gave you? I'm like, no. And she's like, what have you changed? And it was my patch. So when I left her office, what we tried to fix in a year and a half, the patch fixed in 3 months, instantly. And that wasn't on my wish list. And every time Rachel asks, can you do a testimonial? Because I've been on it for a year, I now get to say which one, because there's been so many. But that's usually our go-to one.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing, Kim. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing tonight.
Can I ask, can you quickly tell your plant one? Because I think it's so powerful because people say, what is it's a placebo. It's not, yeah, anyways. Plants can't, there's no placebo with plants.
Absolutely. So I have a friend that's stubborn. I'm sure as we all have a friend. And she kept saying, it's a placebo. It's a placebo. I am, it's in my head. So I have this Hoya plant and it didn't grow. And this plant's 12 years old. And this plant has a special meaning to me. Well, I've drowned this plant. I have dried it out. It caught bugs. I have had it in every friggin' room in my house. So it's now finally landed in my bathroom in front of the proper light. I water it properly and it won't grow. It won't do nothing. It's 12 years old. It should be the size of a watermelon. So after wearing my patch for 12 hours, I take it off and I was like, I'm going to stick it on my plant. So every night at 6 o'clock, I take my patch off and I would paper clip it onto the leaf. I didn't do anything different. And it started to grow this long arm. And I'm like, what is happening? And I took pictures because I wanted people to believe me. So I wrapped it around the macrame hanger. And then it started growing this weird thing at the end of this long arm that it grew. And I'm watching it, keep patching it, keep patching. I'd say it's probably about 3 or 4 months. And it bloomed. It grew a flower. So in 12 years, it has never flowered. It has never grown. And the only thing I did was patch it and it flowered. So plants don't lie.
Plants
That's one
don't
of the
lie.
people.
I love it. That's amazing, Kim. Thanks for sharing that. And we're going to get into why even plants are benefiting from this in just a second. But I want to call on Terry. If you are Terry Cummings. Yeah, great.
Hi. Oh
Hi
boy.
there.
I said hello. I hope this will stop. I apologize. So I think Anne Louise, you had mentioned the chapter in your book or being deep into your book, and I am so sorry about this barking. Can you guys hear this? Okay, good. Um, so I'm only 2 months into this, and I have been recovering from a pretty severe, I guess they're all severe, but a traumatic brain injury from a car accident most recently, but also from many years of undiagnosed problems from horseback riding accidents. I did competitive show jumping. Um, for the last 5 years since this accident, or excuse me, 4 years, 4.5 years, whatever, it's been rough. I have been in speech therapy, I've been in cognitive therapy, vision therapy, physical therapy, I mean, and occupational therapy, you name it. Which is kind of weird because I don't normally find myself in the allopathic world, but for some reason, this brain injury brought me into it, which was strange because I've always been on a natural side. But anyway, I experienced a little bit. I mean, clearly my speech has come back a lot. I couldn't talk for the first year. I couldn't spell. Just laying that picture, putting that picture out. So it's been a really intense experience. And my symptoms are and have been absolutely nuts. I mean, anytime I show anyone, especially at a physician, I show them the list of things that I experience that isn't even complete. They don't really believe me because it's so vast. Um, I started this. I also, Rachel had it caught my eye, and I don't know exactly what it was that really jumped out at me. It made sense. I mean, the light technology, and I just thought at this point, what do I have to lose, right? I've done everything and then some. And also, not to mention for whatever it's worth. I mean, we've spent well over $200,000 outside of everything else, outside of it, insurance. I mean, uh, hyperbaric work. I mean, you name it, which is very costly. So, 2 months in at the low price that we're experiencing with these patches, I am blown away. I wish actually my husband was here for him to go through. He would be better at explaining this because he's even more animated and just crazy over the top excited about this. Just to name a couple things that I've experienced in again 2 months, coming not even officially. um, Fatigue. Now I had massive, massive fatigue. So with brain injury healing, for anyone who hasn't, hopefully none of you has, but I mean, we deal with brain battery. And my brain battery would be, I wouldn't even start my day with a full battery. So by midday, I was toasted. Um, I would rest, air quote, I would have to rest multiple times a day just to get myself through the day, barely. And then try to go to sleep. Also, like Anne Louise, I think had mentioned, I mean, massive, massive sleep issues, which is totally aligned with brain injuries. But I'd sleep, but I wouldn't wake up rested. So in the first 30 days of me wearing this patch, I rested 3 times, 3 different days for 20 minutes. And I those 2 out of those 3 days I can really say were related to just excessive other things that would happen. So I can't even it was incredible. And to this day, my almost 60 days in, my fatigue is and my energy has come back, and my brain battery is just performing incredibly well. I mean, I'm just trying to, going through a couple of random things, try to keep it fast, but I mean, massive tinnitus. Tinnitus to the point that of course, it didn't help my sleep because I needed to wear earplugs because the sounds around me were so bothersome. Also, just a brain injury thing. But then I put the earplugs in, and all it would do would amplify my noise in my head and the tinnitus. So, and of course, every specialist, and I have seen, we've been out to the Mayo Clinic. We live north of Seattle, but we have been all over the United States at the top brain injury specialists, and everyone basically has, I mean, kindly said, well, that's where you're at. It's kind of, this is probably going to be the end of your healing, or the most you're going to get. My tinnitus at this point, and I really don't even like to call it mine, but my past tinnitus relationship, it used to be so bad that I would get these piercing noises that would drop me to the ground. I could not handle it. It was like the kind of a noise that you would imagine would shatter glass, and it would drop me. And that has not happened one time that I can remember, even in the first 30 days, and now in the first 60 days. These events would happen multiple times a day, and then just others were constantly, I just couldn't hear. So yeah, crazy. Migraines, cluster headaches that were completely debilitating, that would go on anywhere from 72 hours upwards to 2 weeks long sometimes, where I just, again, just bedridden. Have not had one since. I haven't even had the typical head pain. My recall, the fact that I'm talking about all this right now, is just bonkers. On top of the brain injury, I'm also 50 years old now and hot and heavy into menopause. Yay. So that was a really fun addition to this smoothie I've got going on in me, because the hormone shifts just were just making me, it's just everything. And so the again, that the last 60 days, this recall and my ability, my husband's always, just kind of nicely just quizzing me and just, being kind of coy about it, but asking me questions about what was the name of that show we watched, whatever. And I can remember things now, which I couldn't honestly. I have wanted to call my sisters, and I knew I had sisters, but I didn't know their names, and I didn't know how to find their number in my phone because I couldn't remember their names. So I can now remember some, silly TV show that we watched, and then I can remember I'm remembering crazy stuff. So, um, you know, it, it's it's just it's kind of hard to talk about still and to deal with, in the sense that I didn't come in with I had really high hopes, but I wasn't and here I am having a recall now. I'm showing off, but a recall problem. I didn't have I wasn't suspicious or negative in any way of the technology, but I was more just I was really in a bad place negatively and just in my healing process. And so I didn't want to get my hopes up to get my hopes down, if that makes any sense. And so now here I am again, only 2 months that I'm kind of just holding my breath a little bit, but every day is just getting better and better. And so I'm just starting to talk to people and share my story, which has also been awkward and weird because a lot of people I've lost a lot of relationships in my life through this injury. It's a really hard thing for people to understand and grasp. So it's been kind of strange now for me the first time going back and now talking about it, but being able to just function this way. And again, in 2 months, it's not even it's insane. I don't even know. It's so exciting and it's so positive, and nothing that we have done or even a whole grouping of things we have done has given me this degree of improvement. Anything. I'm not even so yeah, I
That's
I'm in.
amazing. Amazing. I love it. You have a whole new lease on life. I mean, over the
I
past
do.
4.5 years. Yeah, so happy for you. Thank you so much for sharing tonight, Terry. Appreciate you. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go and share my screen now, and I'm going to be able to explain to you how and why people are having such amazing results here. So if you can just let me know that you can see my screen there, I'm just going to share a quick PowerPoint, and then Rachel's going to take over as well. So tonight you're going to learn how your own light that you emit can activate your body's natural and powerful ability to heal. And I do want to say at the outset, when I can switch my, oh, I'm frozen here. What's going on? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Just a disclaimer, super important, right? LifeWave products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or medical condition. This patch is not a medical device that requires FDA to approve it. It's actually considered a general wellness product by the FDA. Okay, so now did you know this is the crux of the problem here? So our stem cells in our body, they actually go dormant. So by the age of 30, our healthy stem cells decrease by 60%. And then by the age of 60, healthy stem cells, they decrease by 90%. And not only is the natural aging process contributing to this decline in health, but unfortunately, the world that we live in, this modern age of convenience, of consumerism, we are inundated with toxins and poisons and chemicals in the air and the water and the food and the man-made synthetic radiation everywhere. All of this leads to cellular dysfunction. And our bodies actually require active, healthy stem cells to heal and repair the body. So the fewer stem cells you have, the faster you age, the slower you heal. And so for those of you that do not know this, so stem cells, I didn't know what they were 19 months ago. I really didn't. But they are the undifferentiated cells that can become any cell in our body, including our heart cells, our brain cells, our lung cells, our liver cells, our hair cells, our skin cells. So, and we've heard of stem cell therapy before, but where do those stem cells come from, right? Where are they sourced from? Stem cell treatment is also known to be pricey. It's not widely available or accessible. It can have a huge risk. It's invasive. I actually heard a stat that it's only about 50% effective because they stay local to the injection site. So this is why regenerating your own stem cells within you is so exciting, and why this phototherapy patch is such a powerful option. So phototherapy, or healing with light. Phototherapy is becoming more of a household name, right? With the red light panels, the red light therapy. But phototherapy in and of itself is nothing new. It's something that all living beings depend on, even those plants and animals. The sun is nature's original phototherapy. It signals our bodies to make vitamin D and other vital processes in the body. But photobiomodulation is a specific type of light therapy, phototherapy, that uses specific wavelengths of light to stimulate cells that promote the healing process, boosts energy production, reduces inflammation, improves blood flow, and helps with tissue repair. And what has us so excited is that now it is accessible, non-invasive, affordable, and risk-free. And so what if these little wearable phototherapy patches are also capable of increasing a naturally occurring copper peptide? Well, that's exactly what this patch does. So through this process of photobiomodulation, this little patch increases the production of our own GHKCU within our body, this GHKCU copper peptide. This is known as the holy grail of age reversal. And this is not a synthetic peptide that you are injecting. They are not exogenous. They are your own naturally occurring. But just like with stem cells, they also decrease with age. So this unique copper peptide was isolated back in 1973 by Dr. Lauren Picard, PhD and researcher. And so there is 50 years of research to back it up. You can actually find all kinds of studies and research at the site pubmed.gov, which is an online repository of scientific research. So some of the incredible benefits of GHKCU, we know that it boosts collagen and elastin. It supports tissue repair and regeneration. It's known to have multiple anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, anti-pain, and even anti-cancer properties, anti-anxiety properties. GHKCU is also known to reset over 4,000 genes in our genome. So basically resetting DNA to a younger, healthier state. But what is truly exciting is that the research also shows that GHKCU reactivates our dormant stem cells. And it does this through the power of this patch. So the X39 from LifeWave, it is a small wearable phototherapy patch about the size of a quarter. You can see it here. I just have it on my wrist tonight. This patch consists of organic materials, amino acids, sugar, water, oxygen, and salt that forms this crystal lattice structure that reflects specific wavelengths of light back into our body. And what I love about this is that it is counter to anything that we have been exposed to or educated on by the conventional medical system, right? There is nothing on this patch going into your skin. So think of it as a mirror. So they are non-transdermal. They are latex free. They do not contain any drugs or chemicals or stimulants. There are no contraindications because they do not interfere with any medications because nothing is being absorbed into your body. It's a completely different mechanism from what we are used to. So this patented product uses this process of photobiomodulation, so it's activated by your body's own infrared heat. We are all light beings. We all emit this low-level infrared light. So again, think of it as a mirror reflecting specific frequencies of light back into the body, signaling these biological changes at the cellular level, including the upgrading of this GHKCU and reactivating your own stem cells. So now that you know how it works, I'm going to turn it over to Rachel to share the benefits of LifeWave X39.
Thanks, Beth. And while this slide does say the benefits of the LifeWave X39, I just want to remind people that the X39 increases that special copper peptide GHKCU. So really these benefits have to do with that copper peptide, the GHKCU. So they help with reducing inflammation and pain, and inflammation is fundamental to almost all chronic diseases. So being able to reduce inflammation can help alleviate symptoms as well as even reversing diseases, dare I say that out loud. So helping with pain as well. About 30% of the population walks around with just chronic back pain. And I say just because there are so many other chronic pain syndromes. Chronic pain is actually a subspecialty in anesthesia that I went through, and it is amazing how many people are walking around with chronic pain, never mind the acute pain that is out there. And that is so limiting for people in their lives. So that's a huge factor and benefit, improving strength, stamina, and energy levels. And this isn't just for people who are lacking in that. It's also for people who want to take their athletic performance to the next level. So there are a lot of Olympic athletes and professional sports players who are also using these patches and benefiting from them. Improving muscle and bone density, which is something that we know declines with age. improves mental clarity and reduces stress. And these are big ones. And we just heard an incredible testimonial, right, about mental cognitive issues. And so that really can improve someone's life also because of the ability to then reconnect with people and being able to communicate, because we're human beings. We need connection. We need that communion and community, because there's the studies have shown with babies and orphanages, there's a failure to thrive when we don't have that connection. It's the same with adults. It's not just with babies. And also being able to reduce stress is a big one. I know the last 5 years has just escalated that stress for everyone in the world. Even if you didn't have any before, we have it now. And that stress is really undervalued in traditional medicine, I would say. It's not even just about I don't like to use the word just, but about the mental and emotional toll that it takes, but as well the physical implications of that stress. Never mind, it's not even just about us, because we dump the stress on everyone around us when it's overwhelming to us, right? As well, balancing hormones and easing anxiety improves hair growth and skin appearance. And I usually like to go a little bit deeper than this, because although we look at that hair growth, skin, and nails, as Anne Louise said, what she was talking about was only what you could see on the outside, but this speaks to collagen, which goes so much deeper than skin deep. Collagen is actually the most abundant protein in the body. It comprises 70%. And collagen makes up most of the connective tissue and fascia, which is so interesting because I learned nothing about this in medical school. And even in my anesthesia career, I just watched surgeons just try to pick it aside to get to the organ. But it's actually the infrastructure for our body. It holds things together, as well as being the communication network. Because of the way collagen is structured, it actually holds these water tubules inside of it, and light travels through the water network in our body. So this is the quantum communication. We always think of hormones and neurotransmitters and the biochemistry. That is the communication system in the body, but that's actually the slowest one. We then have the nerve impulses with our heart and our nervous system, which is faster, but light is at light speed. And so this has to do with, with collagen. And so collagen is extremely important. Promotes cellular repair and wound healing, and improves sleep quality. And again, as we've heard tonight as well, sleep quality, it makes a difference not only to us feeling rested, but that is the time when the real repair and regeneration of everything in the body takes place. So it is absolutely critical to get better sleep quality. And so the long-term results of the GHKCU is within the first few days, over 4,000 genes begin to reset. And for context, we only have around 20,000 genes in our genome, which depending on the source that you read, but that's a massive amount for resetting over 4,000 genes. The supplement that people can go buy in the store, resveratrol, that is the chemical found in red wine, that has a lot of attention and is bottled because it resets 2 genes. So this is over 4,000. I believe it's 4,192. Within 6 weeks, the brain becomes more balanced. And what that means is the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain are speaking together properly, and there is proper communication, which means they can then signal to all of the rest of the cells in the body what exactly to do and when. And once again, communication is key to expressing health. Same goes in our body as in our family, when there's communication in our workplace, in the education system, in all systems. When communication breaks down, everything falls apart and there's chaos. Same goes inside of our bodies, within our cells, between our cells. Within 3 months, collagen is increased, and within 6 months, the heart reverses in age. And I love how David Schmidt puts it. It's not anti-aging, it's age reversal. So here, how to wear it. And I absolutely love this part. And this is one of the things that I stress when I talk to people, because while there are a lot of other beneficial modalities out there and things that can work, a lot of the time they are extra expensive. They take a lot of resources. They take a lot of time out of one's day. They take energy and effort and motivation. This is the simplest, by far the simplest tool that I have come across that is the most natural. It is a sticker that's the size of a quarter or a loonie, depending on where you're from. And you basically peel the backing off, you stick it on your body. You can actually stick it anywhere. There are spots where the research was done, but really you can put it anywhere in your body. You wear it for 12 hours a day. You take it off after 12 hours. And the reason that you give your body a break for 12 hours is so that you still have the response to the stimulus the next day. So you do want to give your body a break, but then you put a new one on the next day, or you can, the one that you took off, as Kim said, she put it on her plant. We can put it on our dog. I do that. And Louise did that. Lots of people put it on their animals. And you repeat that process. And the time frame is a minimum of 90 days because the research shows that 97% of people see an effect by 90 days. Now, it might not be the exact effect you are looking for because everyone is different, which we'll get into, but really one person might see something within one day, another within a week, another within a month. But even just the person that both Beth and I were talking about, Diane, her dad, after 3 months, he still didn't see anything and he wanted to give up. He's 81 and she pushed him through to keep going. And at 4 months, he started to notice a difference. Now, 2 years in, this man who couldn't get up and even get his own legs out of a car or a chair is now beating his daughter in squash or racquetball. I never know the difference between the two. But anyways, so a minimum of 90 days, you want to give it a try. The recommendation is a month for every decade that you've been alive on the planet to get full reactivation of your stem cells. That doesn't mean full healing of everything. It just means you've got your body going because it takes decades for us to get sick and for us to notice any decline in our body. So thinking that healing happens quickly, even a month for every decade that we've been alive, it's actually very quick. So the longer you wear it, the more benefits you will see. And if you're anything like me, my experience having spent 30 years in the hospital setting, I don't ever want to have to go there or access the medical system if I do not have to. So this is my prevention. And the world today is not the world that our biology is in alignment with. Ideally, we've got so many stressors on our body that are extra in the modern world, like toxins that's in our food, air, water, and the electromagnetic frequencies. We need a little extra support. So that is where I am at. I know a lot of people, it's easier to prevent illness than it is to walk your way out of it. So you want to make sure also that you drink plenty of water and electrolytes. As I alluded to earlier with the collagen part of it, that light travels through the water network in our body. So we really need to make sure that we've got plenty of water inside. And that actually means adding electrolytes to the water because that helps hold the water in the body and it also helps hold that negative charge. And so electrolytes, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go and buy an electrolyte powder. You can use unrefined salt, which means the minerals are still there. They're held on to it. Refined table salt is not what I'm talking about. It has to be unrefined. And you also want to make sure that you've got some copper in your diet. Just like baking a cake, you need all the ingredients to make that copper peptide, which includes copper. Anyone who's made a cake and has forgotten the salt, I'm sure, even a quarter teaspoon, the whole cake completely tastes off. So that copper, it's important. I tell people this is not an exhaustive list, but some of the things that you want to, or you can where you can find copper at the top of the list is organ meats, if you can handle them or just incorporate them into some kind of food, oysters, seafood, or shellfish. And those who don't eat any of those, avocados have copper, nuts, in particular cashews, sunflower seeds, and probably everyone's favorite, a small square of dark chocolate. And then what to expect. This is an interesting one. And I go back to that easy button that I mentioned at the beginning, which it's funny because if you think about it, so many commercials had that red easy button that people push or memes. And we are conditioned in our society to expect and want things to happen quickly and overnight. And if they don't, we think it's not working. But as I said earlier, it takes decades to actually get sick. So it does take time to heal. And every single person is different. We come to this planet with a different set of genetic instructions. We've been alive a different number of years. We've been under different environmental stressors depending on what we're eating, whether it's emotional, physical, chemical, spiritual, just the environment is different. So we all have a different load on our body and will express that differently. So we will all heal differently as well. So you might look at somebody else and think, well, their headaches or their tinnitus went away really quickly, but mine is still here for 3 months. What's happening? It's not working. Well, no, your body is going to go to work where needed and in what priority and in what sequence. Our body has an intelligence that we are never going to figure out. We actually have 100,000 reactions going on in every single cell every second of the day. It requires extreme precision and accuracy and intelligence. And so the body knows what you need to heal first. And as an example, one of my mom's friends who's 85 had these headaches. He wanted to disappear, but after 2 months, those headaches were still there, but he was no longer wearing his reading glasses. So clearly his body said, no, we have to work on your vision first. And sometimes these things that our body's working on inside, we don't actually feel. I don't know about you. I've taken shelves full of supplements, and I have never once actually felt any difference from them. So a lot of times we are not going to feel it. We've had several people now, 3 people with renal failure, kidney failure, who were being monitored because you have to be, because of all of the potential complications with that. They were wearing these patches 6 and 8 months, and they did not feel a thing in their body. But because they were being monitored by their specialist and had lab work done, they were no longer in kidney failure at the end of the 6 or 8 months. So that is just a testament to the fact that we do not feel everything that goes on in our body. So I just want to really emphasize that, because that's where some people fall off. If you're tired, it means it's working. And again, I say this over and over. I don't like to liken our body to a machine, but everyone understands a cell phone. When you've got a full battery, you can do everything. You can do multiple things on your phone. You can stream. You can do the, what do you call it? Okay, now I'm blanking, where you can get the Wi-Fi off your phone for your computer. Anyways, doesn't matter. We know that when you drain your battery and you get to low battery mode, things start to shut down, and it prioritizes what you can do, and you can't do multiple things. Sometimes you can't even do the thing you want to. The same goes with our body. When we've got a certain amount of energy to run everything, we need extra energy for healing. So our body will tell us we need to just slow down and utilize the energy that is available for healing. So honor the fatigue, allow yourself to sleep and rest. I know it's hard in our society, but this is how we can get better and heal. You also want to make sure that you are breathing properly, which starts with nasal breathing, because our nose is actually for breathing and our mouth is for eating. But many of us breathe from our upper chest and our accessory muscles in our neck, which is actually not proper. It's actually not proper breathing and doesn't allow for the oxygen really to get into the proper part of the lungs. And that oxygen is so critical because the end point is in the mitochondria where energy is made. So starts with nasal breathing. Whenever you think about it, just try to, because it helps with triggering the diaphragm for breathing. And now we have some examples, visual examples. Here we have on the left-hand side of hair growth, and that's only 6 months apart. So we can see on the left-hand side that there are it's sparse, the hair in that hairline, and over the time period to the right-hand side. Again, that's only 6 months for that hair growth. And we actually have someone on our team whose son is, I'm not sure if she's on the call, but in his mid-30s, who had alopecia for 10 years, so no hair growth at all. And they tried all sorts of things to no avail. And within 6 days, he started to get some peach fuzz. And then within 2.5 months, he had about half an inch of hair growth, which is absolutely remarkable. On the right-hand side, we have a picture of a lady with a curvature of her spine, which we term scoliosis. And this one, again, this one is really fast, as we can see that. after 4 weeks of using the X39. And it says Ice Wave as well. That one does not have any regenerative capabilities. That's just strictly for pain. But you can see the spine has straightened out significantly. And if someone can do this and avoid having any kind of surgery, it's, in my books, that's a major win.
I don't know. It's frozen there. I don't know. Oh, there. Okay. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Something going on in the cosmos. Okay, on the left-hand side, we've got a lady who's got what's called vitiligo. And what that is, it's an autoimmune condition, but how we can see it on the outside is there are patchy areas of discoloration, of a lack of pigment in the skin. So you can see there's a white patchy areas. And she said she tried everything that nothing worked. But then when she tried the X39, that's when she saw results. And on the right-hand side, we see the color is slightly different. It's pinker, but the important part with vitiligo is that there is a uniform color to her skin. There are no patchy areas of depigmentation. On the right-hand side, we see this is a knee, actually, after a knee replacement. And this person was using the patch for only 2 days. And that is extremely rapid wound healing. I know people who've cut themselves. Everyone cuts themselves at some point, and you know how long it takes to heal. But I can tell you, after spending 30 years in the hospital setting and 25 in the operating room, this is very rapid wound healing. This is a brain scan of a lady, a 77-year-old woman. So this ties into what Terry was talking about with herself, that she was telling her story. But we see here, this is actually very fast. So on the left-hand side, this person had not yet started the X39, and the red here in the brain scan shows high inflammation. And there's very little light blue and green, which is what we want. That's coherence. That means the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain are talking to each other. In the middle image, that is only 3 weeks. And again, I stress 3 weeks is a very short period of time. Think about anyone who's gone to their doctor and they said they're starting medications, that you need at least 6 to 8 weeks to think that it's even doing anything. So 3 weeks is very short. And you can see all the red is gone. So all that inflammation is actually gone. There's more light blue and green coming in. The dark blue is lower activity. But on the right-hand side, again, this is 6 weeks, very short period of time. When you look at the grand scheme of things, no more red, no inflammation. There's a lot more light blue and green in there, which means coherence. And remember, coherence is communication and harmony, and that is the way to express health.
Thank you so much, Rachel. So I want to share with you who is behind this incredible technology. We absolutely love sharing the genius, David Schmidt. So David is the CEO of this 20-year-old company. He started working with the US government and was actually part of the Navy SEAL survival program, where he was creating something that could keep the SEALs alert, mentally focused on missions that lasted 36 hours. And that's where the first patch of LifeWave was actually born. That was his first patent. He has now over 201 patents to his name, I believe. But then through David's networks, his connections, he found himself at Stanford University patching the women's US Olympic swim team. They ended up having tremendous success with it and all set personal records. But this was 20 years ago. Then in 2008, David turned his attention to stem cell research, knowing the future of medicine and regenerative science was in stem cells. And so he began to figure out a way that he could leverage the natural stem cells that exist inside the human body. So by 2020, after 10 years of research, $4.5 million, he had received a 20-year patent on this X39, which is the only phototherapy patch that activates our own dormant stem cells. And so this resulted in tremendous growth for the company, closing out 2024 over 600 million. That is a 3,000% growth rate in 4 years. And so LifeWave has been recognized for this massive growth by DSN, or Direct Selling News, with the Bravo Growth Award, which honors companies with the highest year-over-year revenue growth on the Global 100 list. So these companies are not only scaling their businesses, but setting new benchmarks for the entire industry. LifeWave has received the Bravo Growth Award for 2 years in a row now. And then most recently, LifeWave earned one of the top recognitions in biotech and life sciences. So among industry giants, which included thousands of nominations from over 15 countries. So LifeWave product won the Stem Cell Innovation of the Year just, I think, a month ago, 2025. So huge recognition for this company. So there really is no competition out there in the market. This is a novel product. No one else has this. No one else can have it because of that 20-year patent on the X39. There is a 22-page patent that you can check out. We encourage you to do your own research, but really this one paragraph says it all: elevates copper peptide, activates stem cells, improvements in strength, stamina, and pain relief. So the patent is on that structure that I mentioned earlier, that material in the patch where the patch reflects specific frequencies of light back into the body, so that the specific crystal lattice structure. So they had to prove that it works. So clinical studies were done to show the significant increase in the production of the copper peptide GHKCU, and it was measured through blood samples, urine analysis, other lab analysis. I encourage you to check out the patent, the studies. There are great videos. You can check out this wonderful site at thisitit.info.com in that bottom right corner there. Really great videos explaining the technology, David Schmidt being interviewed, doctors being interviewed. There's also a variety of powerful testimonials on there, everything from neuropathy, eye improvement, hair improvement, weight loss, sleep. So you can go check it out, dive in there again at thisitit.info.com. So what we've introduced you to tonight really goes far beyond the surface, because we know it's not just about less pain, more energy. It's about what that healing allows you to do in life, right? It allows you to thrive with more confidence, more energy, feeling better from the inside out. And for some, it could also be easing of finances and potentially financial freedom with the momentum of this company. So just by sharing, blessing your family and friends can offset the cost of your patches. Maybe make a bill payment, an extra bill payment, live a life with more ease, or even live a life of abundance. This is all available to you with the power of this patch. So let me share with you how you can get started. So LifeWave offers 3 options to enroll. These prices are in US dollars. And so for a month's worth of patches, there are 30 patches in what we call a sleeve or an envelope. So first, you can enroll as a retail customer, paying retail price. We see practitioners in the States setting themselves up like this, offering this to their patients. But of course, we promote getting you set up with the wholesale pricing of $99 US. This is for a month's worth. So then you have 2 options to set you up. You can sign up as a preferred customer, commit to that monthly subscription, or as a brand partner. And we recommend the brand partner option, because not only can you take advantage of the wholesale pricing, but you can also secure a spot on the team. You can leverage the incredible momentum of this company by building a business without additional cost or overhead. You're just paying for the cost of your patches. And so, what we often see is that people begin to experience success and they just naturally share it with others. They end up earning a commission, and sometimes they end up building a full-time basis. We have many people on our team, including Rachel and I, that saw the opportunity, we saw the vision, and we are building successful businesses just by sharing these patches. So signing up as a brand partner, there's no pressure to share or build a business, nor is there an additional investment or commitment. As I said, you're just paying for the cost of your personal patches. So there are 4 enrollment kits available to get you started. And as you can see with these packages, the more that you purchase upon signing up, the better the value. The cost of the sleeves comes down considerably for your initial order. You can then upgrade anytime through those enrollment kits, and then you're just paying the difference and then receiving the difference in the number of sleeves. So that way you can have some on hand to loan out, share with family and friends. My uncle got started today. I drove over to his house and he put his order in, and I gifted him, loaned him out a sleeve of patches. So you can, gift your aging parents, loan them out to people as they wait for their orders to come in. It's really fun to get people started before their orders come in. Having extra sleeves on hand is always great to set yourself up for success right out of the gate. And we do have a very attractive compensation plan. So for those interested in sharing the product, we actually have just launched Comp Plan 2.0 enhancements. So the comp plan is even more generous, set up for the long game. It's actually a hybrid comp plan where it's a binary, where you're building 2 teams, a left team and a right team, but you also get paid unilevel now. And we are committed to helping you be successful and helping you win here. We have an incredible leadership team that you too can leverage. This company is on this massive growth trajectory. Our team is the #1 team in the whole company. It has incredible leadership and supports and training and systems in place to grow your business. You do not need any prior experience in sales or network marketing required. It's really all about helping people with the freedom model, with health obviously being the foundation of it all. So I encourage you to reach out to the person that invited you on the call tonight. They will be able to answer more questions for you, be able to get you set up with the best pricing and package available. Now, for those of you on the call tonight, I will be opening it up to questions. So you can actually, if you haven't already, you can put your questions in the chat and we'll be getting to that in just a second. But for those of you watching the replay, thank you so much for joining in today, for prioritizing your health. We hope to see you on the call soon, and we hope to hear your powerful testimonial as well. Take care, everyone.